Primarch, don't.
Spoiler alert! A suspenseful two-part climax is set up when Captain Michael Burnham is compelled to give important intelligence to the Breen Imperium at the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 8, Labyrinths. In Labyrinths, the 8th episode of Discovery Season 5, written by Lauren Wilkinson and Erigah Robbins and directed by Emmanuel Osei-Kuffour, Burnham must pass one last exam in order to find the location of the Progenitors' buried treasure. Michael and the Eternal Archive are shielded from Breen forces by Commander Rayner and Cleveland Booker of the USS Discovery as Burnham works her way through her mental mazes. After the events of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 7, Erigah, Moll is now under the control of the Breen Imperium, and she starts to manipulate the political situation for her own purposes. Demonstrating her unwavering determination to bring her deceased spouse, Lack, back to life, Moll initiates a coup against Primarch Ruhn. The last two episodes of Star Trek Discovery Season 5 are slated to include an epic battle for the mysteries of life itself, with both the USS Discovery and the Breen Dreadnought possessing the location of the Progenitors' treasure.
Locke will never support your succession if you kill me.
Welcome to Movie Spy. Is Moll, the new leader of the Breen, actually the true villain from Star Trek Discovery Season 5? Ruhn, the Primarch, had to leave. In Episode 8 of Season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, Moll accomplishes her most remarkable feat to date. With the aid of the understanding Lieutenant Arisar, Moll, while under Breen's control, manages to orchestrate a coup against the Primarch. Moll undermines the Primarch's authority throughout Labyrinths, planting doubts in the minds of those who follow him. The Primarch puts the Federation at risk of total war as he acts more and more rashly in an effort to get the last clue. Moll notes that this will make the political unrest among the Breen in Star Trek Discovery Season 5 even worse. After determining where the Progenitors' technology is, the Primarch tries to destroy the archive. Moll, having killed Ruhn, organizes the Primarch's supporters to support her and the only real scion, Lack. By doing this, Moll has established herself as the leader of the Breen Imperium ahead of the two-part Discovery Season 5 conclusion. Moll appears to be relishing the very position of power that her husband turned down, hinting at a future conflict between the two lovers even as she is motivated by her love for Lack and her conviction that the Progenitors' technology has the ability to raise the dead. The reason behind Captain Burnham's Breen in the complete treasure map of the Progenitors, Burnham chose to preserve the archive through a well-thought-out tactical move. Burnham made a terrible mistake when she decided to give the scientist who had gathered the Progenitors hints, but it's important to keep in mind that she was put in an unfavorable circumstance. Although the loss of the Eternal Gallery and Archive would have been catastrophic for the galaxy, Primarch Ruhn was ready to destroy them. If Star Trek Discovery's quest for the Progenitors' wealth has taught us anything, it's that culture and history matter. A staggering number of items that contribute to the cultural legacies of both the Federation and non-Federation worlds would have been destroyed by the Breen's destruction of the archive, in addition to the lives that would have been lost. But toward the finale of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 8, Burnham's choice was also impacted by the insights she had learned during her stay in the Mindscape. Burnham discovered that in order to obtain the Progenitors' treasure, she required one more piece of information after eventually finishing the test. So far, this knowledge has only been known by Burnham because it was not even voiced on television. Burnham is thus betting that the Breen won't be able to solve the last puzzle before the Discovery team gets their hands on the Progenitors' wealth. Captain Burnham performs a masterful Star Trek captain trick that convincingly simulates the USS Discovery being destroyed in order to further confuse the Breen. At the precise moment when the Discovery's shields start to fail due to the strain of the Breen's weapons, Burnham commands Commander Paul Stamets, Anthony Rapp, to jump to the destination, venting plasma in from the Discovery into the charged Badlands environment. As the ship was lost, the Breen's weaponry instead set the plasma on fire, creating a massive explosion that gave the impression that they had destroyed the USS Discovery. This gave Starfleet a tactical edge before Lagrange Point, the 9th episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 5. Burnham overcame her deepest fear, how Michael discovered the last hint the Progenitors had. Before obtaining the riches of the Progenitors, Burnham needs to know herself. Counselor Troi is paid greater homage in Labyrinths of Star Trek Discovery, where Captain Burnham's exam from Dr. Marina D. Rex was essentially a mindscape serving as therapy. As she attempts to navigate the mazes inside her head, Burnham makes a number of mistakes under the guidance of a Sassier, a more cunning version of Book. Burnham decides that the only thing left to do is find her way out of the maze, as time is running out and all the lights are going out around her. Burnham loses it and starts talking to the Dr. Rex program's interface about her anxieties after she eventually finds herself back where she started. Michael tells Book that she doesn't dread death, but her biggest worry is failing in her roles as a captain, friend, partner, and person searching for the Progenitors' treasure. As one might expect from a test created by a betazoid, Burnham's self-reflection and acceptance of her identity serve as the lesson. As it appears to her on the interface, Burnham's personal trip not only gives her the last hint as to where the Progenitors' treasure is, but it also enables her to face her shortcomings with Book. She may find it easier to finally be honest with Book now that she's expressed her misgivings to the interface, which could result in their love reconciliation. But the love reunion between Book and Burnham will have to wait until later in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, since the Breen are pursuing them. The significance of the Queegian artifact in the book described. What impact will Book's reunion with Queegian have on his tale with Moll? The Eternal Gallery and Archive has asked Book to visit because they need his help in identifying a Queegian item. Book is among the few individuals who can provide the archivists with the necessary context, given his status as one of the few living members of his race. Two sections of the World Root, a network of tree roots that represented the Queegian people's ancient lineage, make up the item. After his planet was destroyed in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Book has had difficulty making friends. It's one of the reasons Book, who views Moll as the closest thing to a living relative, has grown so determined to save her. But now that Moll has taken over the Breen Imperium and Booker has re-established contact with his homeworld, he might have to give up on his mission. Book owes the late Cleveland Booker III, his mentor, a debt of gratitude for their friendship. In the remaining episodes of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Book might not be able to save Moll from certain death if she has already gone too far. It might be simpler for Book to sever his relationship with Moll now that he is back connected to the World Root. Alternatively, it might offer Moll a way to get him on board by implying that the Cuttings, in conjunction with the Progenitors' riches, have the ability to bring Queegian back. Why the Federation and the Breen value Star Trek Discovery's Eternal Gallery and Archive so highly? All races are welcome at the Eternal Archive and Gallery, even if they are at war with one another. The hint to the Progenitors' riches isn't the only reason why the Eternal Gallery and Archive are significant in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 8, Labyrinths. In the Alpha or Beta Quadrant, the Eternal Gallery is home to the largest collection of historical and cultural relics, as Hyrel, Elena Jawatko, noted prior to being rudely interrupted by Burnham. History is significant because, as Michael tells the interface during her test, those who fail to learn from the mistakes of the past are destined to repeat them. However, as the World Root's cuttings demonstrate, cultural preservation is also extremely significant. Cultural artifacts are essential for maintaining the legacy of the worlds shown in Star Trek, especially considering the number of planets that are destroyed in the series. This is perhaps the reason the Eternal Gallery and Archive is separate from the Federation and allows things from any world to be added to its collections, because they must maintain the peace and sanctity of the Eternal Gallery and Archive by keeping rival forces like the Federation and the Breen Imperium separate. Archivists like Hyrel from Star Trek Discovery are skilled negotiators. Now, the damaged USS Discovery and the Breen are competing against time to claim the treasure of their ancestors. The Breen Imperium is only 1 hour ahead of the Discovery. After their battle with the Breen, the USS Discovery and her crew are left with cuts and bruises in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 8. The spore drive on the Discovery failed, sending them 22 light-years off course from the location of the Progenitors' riches. The damage to the warp drive of the USS Discovery is even worse, and the Breen is only 6 hours away from arriving at the Progenitors' prize. As Star Trek Discovery Season 5 approaches its conclusion, the crew is rushing to activate both the spore and warp engines in order to keep the Progenitors' riches safe from the Breen.